Hello and welcome. Today, I want to talk about how you can strengthen your hip flexors to stabilize the deep abdominal muscles and get rid of your anterior pelvic tilt. If you don't know what an anterior pelvic tilt is, essentially that means that you are allowing for the belly to spill forward and you have a little bit of a sway in the low back. It's called an anterior tilt because it's the front of your hip bones that are moving anteriorly or moving forward. Now, if you are like me and you have a chronic anterior pelvic tilt, it's just the way my posture naturally is, then I live with this sway in my low back and I kind of stick my bum out in space. Like naturally, I really just want to kind of stand like this with my front ribs flared, my low belly loose, and my back arched. But oftentimes, this can create a lot of compression in the low spine where you're not actually engaging the deeper abdominal muscles in the core, and the lower vertebra and the lumbar spine are basically kind of getting smushed together a little bit more. So oftentimes we need to kind of retrain the body to move from this anterior pelvic tilt, kind of the spill of the bowl of your pelvis forward and down, to a posterior tilt where the hip bones move back in space and you stack the tailbone underneath you to create an elongation of your spine and the crown of your head up. That allows for everything to be stacked bone on top of bone. So the bowl of your head, over the bowl of the ribs, over the bowl of the pelvis. And you can kind of automatically see going from this position to this position, I engage the front line of my body and the front ribs move in and down. And I have this like lift of my pelvic floor and a strengthening of my core and my abdominals. Now, someone who typically lives in this low back sway often also has kind of like a butt gripping tendency. So for me to kind of get my hips underneath me, I want to squeeze my glutes, but that's not really the muscles that we need to engage in order to keep us in this stabilized shape. It needs to be the hip flexors and the core that creates this overall shortening of the front line. Like kind of if you're wearing like straps, you're kind of shortening those straps and you're kind of pulling the ribs, the lower floating ribs, closer to the tops of the hips. It's a lot of compensation because for me, when I do this, my upper body also wants to hunch forward because it wants to compensate from this to this. But this is not what we want either. We want a roll of the shoulders back and down, a lengthening of the spine, and again, a stacking. And so for those of us who do live in this low back sway, oftentimes it is the hip flexor muscles that need to be strengthened and the deeper core muscles that need to be strengthened. So I'm going to show you 2 exercises that you can do to kind of help stabilize this for yourself, retrain the body into this position of alignment of the spine. And so to start, it would be standing. You're going to have the feet hip distance apart. Your right arm is going to reach over your head, and your left hand is going to be on your hip. Now, before you begin anything, it's about creating that alignment and that stack. So you're going to have that little tuck of your tailbone, not by squeezing your bum, but by engaging the core, drawing the front ribs in and down, and lengthening the crown of your head up. So that's step 1. You're then going to transfer your weight to your right foot and you're going to lift your left knee up towards your chest, pointing the left toes down towards the floor. Now you're finding a lift out of your right standing hip, finding length from the side body and the waist, using your core to hug your left knee towards you. The movement is to exhale, lower the left toes down towards the mat, just tap them down. And then lift your left knee back up in towards your chest, crunching the core in order to do so. So go slow. Take your time. If you're a little wobbly, that's okay. Just find the gaze steady to 1 point. We're going to go for 5 here. Typically, you want to range for about 5 to 10 of these reps, keeping the tailbone lengthening down towards the floor. and the crown of your head lifting up towards the sky. Last 2. Take your breath with you. Soften the shoulders. Soften the jaw. Last 1. Okay, and then as you lower your left foot down towards the mat, release your right arm. You can shake out that standing leg if you need, but just notice what that felt like in your body, where the core is, where the hips are, where the feet are. We'll try the next side, always having to even ourselves out. So left hand on your hip, right hand on your hip, left arm overhead. Wait, no, I was right. You're gonna balance on the left leg, left hand on your hip, right arm overhead. Okay, so you're gonna balance on the left standing leg and your right knee is gonna come. I did that wrong. Did I? I think I just did this. Now we need to do this. Yeah, okay. So switching sides, making sure that we always balance ourselves out. You're gonna be lifting your left arm overhead and the right hand is gonna be on your hip. Again, start by stabilizing your core. Front ribs move in and down, low back is long. From that place of stabilization, draw your right knee in towards your chest. Point your right toes down towards the floor. Take a moment to pause. Feel the flattening of your lower back as if you're pushing the low back into a wall. And as you exhale, slowly lower the right toes down towards the floor. And bring your right knee back up into your chest, crunching the knee in. We're going for 5, so just for 4, lower the leg and lift the knee. Finding the tuck of your tailbone underneath you the entire time and the length of your crown of the head towards the sky. You'll feel an engagement through the standing leg, of course, but really trying to isolate the movement in the hip, engaging the abdominals. Last 2, lower and lift. Last 1, lifting knee to chest and lowering foot and arm down. Good. You can find some sways or some movement just to flesh that out. Take a moment to check in. Where is my body in space? Finding, again, just a slight tuck of your tailbone. See if the hips can move forward, the ribs can move back. And we're going to take this down towards the mat, kind of adding on. So as you sit on your bum, you're going to straighten your legs out in front of you, and you're going to point your toes. So you're gonna have the hands kind of angled out in front of you. I like to tent my fingers. The more challenging option is to have the hands down by your sides. What we're doing is a lift and lower of one leg. So again, really using the hip flexors and the deep core muscles to get that lift. We're not moving our upper body in order to create momentum to lift. We're really isolating the movement in the lift and the lower. So have the hands, again, I would try stretching them out in front of you to start. Tent the fingers. Draw the navel up and in. Soften the shoulders back and down. And then with your right leg, give it a lift away from the floor. Heel lifts, and you lower it down. We're just going to do 5. So don't worry about how high the leg lifts. Just see where it goes. Keep the chest broad. Lengthen the tailbone down. The crown of your head up. Every time you lift, draw the navel in. Last one. It's okay if your leg shakes. Mine does. Amazing. Okay, lower that leg. Roll it in and out. And we'll try the next side. Okay, nice long spine. Draw the navel in. Left heel lifts and lowers. So the hands are just there to kind of stabilize you. You don't need to push the hands down. Again, it's just the hip flexor, just the core that's lifting and lowering your leg. Last 2. Last 1. Amazing. Heel down, rock of the ankles in and out always helps. If you're feeling any cramping or anything in the hip flexors, take your thumbs to your hips, just kind of roll them around. You'll kind of find the spot, the sweet bit. Just kind of flush that out. And so this was just kind of an intro to some of the movements that you can do to start strengthening the hip flexors and engaging those deep abdominals, retraining the body to create that stack and the alignment of your spine. If you are interested in doing an entire class of this type of movement and strengthening this part of your body, I have an entire class on the Align platform. Link is down below in the description. And if you're interested in practicing with me more often, then subscribe, follow the platform, go to Align. Again, all links below. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you very soon. Namaste.